Have you ever imagined what might happen if you walked into a store where the lights never go out and the doors never close? Where the same familiar faces appear every night but never seem to leave? The story I'm about to tell you unfolds in a forgotten corner of the city, where the 24/7 store has become the center of a mystery that has haunted its security guard, a man named Tom, who has begun to piece together a terrifying reality. Every night, as he moves through the brightly lit aisles, Tom watches as a group of customers enters the store, only to vanish into thin air. What happens in this store that people never seem to exit? Tom started his job at the 24/7 store, hoping to save a little money while searching for a better opportunity. At first, the work felt monotonous. The hours dragged slowly as he found himself alone in the empty store. But as the days passed, the routine turned unsettling. Every night at the same hour, a group of 5 people would enter the store. A scruffy-looking man, an elderly woman always wearing a straw hat, a young girl in a red coat, a curly-haired boy, and a woman with large dark eyes. At first, Tom thought they were just regular customers, which wasn't all that unusual for a store that never closed. However, what began to unsettle him was that despite their many visits, none of them ever left. Curiosity morphed into obsession, and after reviewing the surveillance footage, he realized that his chilling discovery was not only unusual, but that all of these individuals had been reported missing since the 1980s. A chill coursed down his spine as he pondered what this meant. Fear tightened his chest as the reality of their fate began to sink in. Every time the store's door chimed, Tom found himself in a dilemma. Should he approach these customers and ask them why they were coming and going without rhyme or reason? But the fear of what might happen kept him at bay. A voice in his head urged him to leave, that it was all madness. But curiosity kept him tethered to his post. Each night, he gathered his courage and decided to stay and watch. The first time he decided to follow one of them, that old woman in the straw hat, his heart raced. The old lady wasn't alone. Her 5 feet scuttled between the shelves like shadows. He followed her, determined to uncover the truth. That night, he felt what he was doing was wrong, that unraveling the mystery might lead to a terrible fate. However, he could not let it go. He couldn't ignore the lost souls trapped in an eternal cycle. As he drew closer, he noticed the old woman was muttering something, a low chant, almost inaudible but resonating with an echo against the store's cold walls. In the dimness of the aisle, a strange glow caught Tom's attention. He moved closer, fearful of what he might find. What he saw left him frozen in place. A mirror at the end of the corridor reflected not only the image of the old woman, but also those who once had been customers, their faces distorted by time and despair. In that unsettling moment, Tom understood that those who entered would never return. They were simply trapped souls, condemned to wander within these walls for eternity. Terror consumed him like poison as the echo of their murmurs pursued him. He turned to flee, determined to escape, but the store seemed to have changed entirely. The lights flickered, the shelves shifted, and a chilling cold permeated the air. As he bolted for the exit, a harrowing scream resonated behind him, a cry filled with pain and pleading. It was the curly-haired boy, his face now pale and faded, begging him not to leave him behind. Tom felt his heart shatter, yet reason told him he could not help him. The store's door slammed shut behind him, trapping him in the shadows. With every step backward, he felt something trailing him, something he couldn't see but knew was right behind him. Finally, he managed to open the door and fled into the street, into the safety of the night. However, the mysterious echo of the store followed him, a never-ending murmur reminding him of the trapped souls. That night, Tom could not sleep. Each shadow and whisper kept him on edge. Days turned into weeks, and every time he tried to return to the store, an invisible force stopped him. Yet his mind kept racing with the enigma of the 24/7 store. Where were those customers? What was truly happening within those walls? The cycle of despair compelled him to return to work, and once again, he found himself facing the store, feeling the dark curiosity envelop him. One night, he steeled himself and decided he had to confront his fear. Upon entering, the atmosphere was heavier than before, and the sensation of being watched enveloped him. Tom knew he had to speak to them. As he explored, he heard the low chant he had become fascinated with before. He followed the sound, delving deeper into the store, until he reached the very mirror where he had seen the images of the missing. It was there, pulling him toward a world he could only describe as a nightmare reflection. As he gazed into the mirror, confusion and disorientation began to wash over him, the walls swirling and the chant growing louder. Suddenly, the mirror came to life, and the figure of the old woman reappeared, her face serene but eerie. Tom realized that he was trapped and that he would be part of this horrific cycle unless he could escape. But time was running out. Panic began to engulf him, and the thought of becoming another missing person filled him with overwhelming despair. With one last cry of defiance, Tom lunged backward, desperate to break the spell that held him captive. In a flash of madness, he found himself outside the store once more. The door slammed shut behind him, and silence embraced him. Tom knew he could never return, that he had narrowly escaped the clutches of the 24/7 store, but the entrapped souls within would remain, caught in an eternal wait. The store became a haunting memory, a place he warned others about as a cautionary tale. As the wind whistled around him, Tom realized there was something more powerful than fear. The desire to uncover the truth, the urge to help those who could not help themselves. Who were those lost in the shadows? He wondered if, one day, he might free the trapped souls. But for now, all he could do was tell his story and warn others about the 24/7 store. Should you ever think about entering, remember that some things are better left unknown. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to leave a like and a comment telling me what you thought. Subscribe to the channel for more terrifying and mysterious tales. I'll see you next time, my friend.